I'm Jane.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to
Come
Dowse with me.
Oh gosh, that's the same as last series. We finally get it synced towards the end.
Yeah, well, by episode 10 of series 3, we will be in sync and it will be bang on. Oh, Jane, how nice to see you. So today, I think we're talking about flags. So dowsing flags when you use them, when you're dowsing outside. And I think we'll also be talking about questions. I think that's going to come into, oh, here come the flags.
Here come the flags. Here come the flags.
So I don't really do a lot of outdoor dowsing at the moment. I have done in the past, but I haven't done a lot recently. So I think I'm just going to ask you some questions, if that's all right, Jane, about how you use them.
You can. So first of all, these flags are readily available on the internet. They are, I think the technical name for them are surveyor's flags, and you can buy them in varying colours. I have varying colours because, as I will explain later, I'm going to put these down now because otherwise I might do myself an injury. They're a bit like dowsing rods. They're really long, so you can see kind of, I can't get them all in. There we go, look. They're quite long.
Yeah, they are quite long, aren't they?
But they're great for sticking in the ground.
So when you're dowsing outside, it's normally for, am I right, it's normally energy lines or historical things?
And water. Basically anything that you want to dowse outside. But if you want to see where a line is going across a site, you can almost plot it. So you can, I'll use energy lines as an example because I do a bit of water, but I try to avoid water for whatever reason. Mine tends to be historical information that I'm looking for, but with energy lines, they're believed to be, lots of energy lines going across the landscape. And so what I will do is I will get my trusty dowsing rod and say, show me where the nearest energy line is. Oh, and I know that I've got a couple of energy lines in my garden, so it's okay. It's pointing out towards the garden. And then what I do is I'd go along with my flag and I'd plot whatever it is that I'm asking that question for. So you can, and I have done actually recently when we were, I can't remember where we were. Oh, Glastonbury. When we were up at a hill fort, that name has completely, Cadbury Castle Hill Fort. Nothing to do with chocolate. Just putting that in there.
Well, that was, I just straight away saw the colour purple and thought about chocolate from a certain place.
But yeah, on the top there we went with an archaeologist, and so he'd done some excavations, and so what he did was he invited us using flags to plot where the walls of a great hall was. So there was a whole load of dowsers all going around with their dowsing rods doing this and that, and there were flags being put everywhere, and we were pretty accurate actually. He said, we know that's about where we started to dig, and we excavated and we found things. So I think it's great when archaeology and dowsing actually come together, and I know you've had a bit of experience about that, which I think we talked about in series 2, didn't we?
Oh, when I went off with a metal detectorist. Not a detectorist, get the term right, detectorist. But yes, where you sort of I went and dowsed for something to find some old artifacts in the ground. But yeah, we covered that one before. So with the flags, so you would find where your energy line is and then you'd just stick them in the ground.
Yeah.
And you said you have different colours for different things. Is that for doing energy lines or is that for doing something else? Is that when you're...
I do it for anything. So you can do, there's a thing called pictograms. So there's quite a few dowsers that find kind of like flowers or mandalas or that type of shape maybe at a crossing point of maybe two energy lines. So often when two energy lines like meet, the famous ones are kind of like the Michael and Mary line that come through Devon, Cornwall, and go up to
they go through Wiltshire, don't they? And
they go through Glastonbury, and they come out on the Norfolk coast. Well, where the Michael and the Mary line meet is called a node point. So at times those lines will actually cross. Well, in some of those instances, you can get a pictogram as well. So you may get and other energy lines. It's not just those ones. You may get pictograms. So flags are great for doing a pictogram, because you can then actually plot where you put your flag in. So you can actually, when you stand back, you can see the picture that it's kind of like created. So I've not really explored pictograms much, because I tend to do a lot of chasing dragon energy lines. So I did in lockdown, actually, because we couldn't get out. I used my flags and I plotted lots of energy lines in my garden, but also because I've got the coloured flags, I could pick, say, blue, and I could pick where the water lines are and see if there are energy and water lines. So you can have, it looked like mini golf going across my with all the flags flying, because I had lots of different, I was looking at energy lines, I was looking at water lines, and so I was able to see if they followed, and generally if there's energy, there's usually water in that area. That tends to be my findings. But as you know, dowsing is very personal, and we all dowse similar things but differently, depending on, I guess, what our question is. And it's interesting when you're on an ancient site. One of the questions that I will ask is, when was this site first used? And in order to do that, I use this.
Yes, I've been out with you while you've used that before. That's really useful, because I can never remember which order things go.
I'm not great at history. This is great. This I got off the internet, but I'm using it for the purpose. So basically, I hold my rod and I'm on an ancient site out in the field, and I'll say, when was this site first in use? And I'll just get my finger to go along, and it'll keep going along. It probably won't do anything at the moment, because I don't know when my house was first used. Oh, I'm getting it's moving.
And then that will tell you, that'll answer. And questions are really important, aren't they? How you ask the questions and what questions you ask are really important. And it's different I don't tend to like asking questions about the future. So if somebody said to me, oh, can you check to see if I should buy this, whatever it might be, car or something, I might get a yes. But because there's so much time involved in, and but things can change in the future, that yes might be yes, start the process to buying it, but that might not necessarily mean that car is for them. So it's like for the future, it's very different, isn't it? The questions that you ask are different to the ones that you ask for the past. So, and the questions have to be, I think the more experience you have, the more you become Miss Marple, and you get tuned into the sorts of questions that can be answered yes, no, and that can't be sort of thought of differently, that can't be, sort of, yeah.
Interpretation, I guess. Interpretation. So I have a little list. I have a whole list of questions that I've built up over the years. So I have them laminated, because it's always raining when I It rains every time I'm out in the field. But anyway, so I've got, for instance, if I'm at a stone circle, I will ask, first of all, I ask permission if I can go in the stone circle from the guardian of the site. That's not asking literally a physical person, it's asking kind of on an energetic level, can I enter the site? And sometimes you're not always able to, and there may be something that I need to do in order to go there. But usually I'll go in there and I'll ask something like, are the stones here for a religious purpose or a ceremonial purpose? Then I'll ask, when were they erected? Because you can either count or you get your trusty timeline now. So I can get a really good idea of when the stones were first erected. Then I might ask a question such as, is it in an alignment with stars, the sun, directions, other significant sites? So you're doing the Miss Marple bit, you're starting to ask loads of questions to kind of get an affirmative answer for something. And I'll ask even questions like, how many people transported the stone or stones? So any question that you want to know, and it's so exciting. I love dowsing in the field, and I love dowsing ancient sites. And sometimes I don't ask any questions. Sometimes I just like to sit and chill out, which is what I did at the weekend. I went up to Bellstone Stone Circle with a friend, and I actually asked permission, went into the stone circle, and I just had this urge. I wanted to sit down, so I sat down, and I sat down and did my dowsing in the middle of the circle, sitting down, which was it was lovely. It just felt right. And there's beautiful energy current running through there. There's the Mary line runs through that, and she was coming straight through the middle of the circle. So I sat there and dowsed to my heart's content until the rain came in and we headed to the pub, which is what all good dowsers should head to, somewhere that serves not only soft and alcoholic drinks, but good food too.
Yes, that's always a good one. Dowse the pub you're going to go to as well after.
Yeah.
I think when I went dowsing last, you were in the group, we went out with Devon Dowsers, and it might have been a year or 2 years ago now, and we went out and we were all trying to find, it was a settlement, and we were all trying to find the fireplace. And I remember that I just kept going and sitting by the fireplace, so it's like by the time we got to the second or third or fourth one, it was just go where Amanda sat because she's on the fireplace. Because it was just, I was drawn to that area, and it didn't look like a fireplace, but yeah, sort of dowsing, it was like, all right, yeah, it's here again.
That tends to be what happens with energy lines. Those people that know me really well know that the dowsing rod doesn't often signify where I am. You can normally hear me burping, and that's a kind of sign that I'm on an energy line. And yeah, often people will turn around and look, and I'm standing, and they'll be dowsing, and I'm right in the middle of the energy line, and I just tend to be drawn to stand on there. So I think that kind of links in with deviceless dowsing. So that might be something that we might talk about another time, actually, about deviceless dowsing. Yeah, it might be something that may be interesting to explore in more detail. But yeah, the flags, they're great. They're great for when you want to take photographs. They're also really great for confirming what other people are finding as well. So you can compare where they're putting their flags and see if there's an alignment and things there. So yeah, they've got their great purpose. Just don't leave them out in the rain like mine have gone a bit rusty.
So which other sites would you use them on? What other sites have you used them on recently then? Did you say you've been out with them recently? Or
I've not been I've not been out with the flags recently, but I have used them. I have used them for, they're great actually if you're going to somewhere where there's been roundhouses, because if you know that there might be a possibility through dowsing an Iron Age settlement, typically the Iron Age, from what I know from watching TV programs and the bit of history that I'm aware of, they were round circular structures, and so you can actually find out where those are. So you can actually plot those out with a flag, so you can work out where. And then again, you could ask where the fireplace was, where the entrance.
But yeah, the entrance is a good one, isn't it? Because then you can see where they were all positioned.
Yeah. And you could use the flags to, maybe a different colour flag to represent where the entrances are. So you could have, say, use the white flags for all the entrances. So you could plot a whole settlement in that way. That'd be really cool, actually. Maybe that's something to think about doing. Yeah, that's quite. What an exciting thing to be able to do that.
Well, we could do that. We could find a site, do it, and film a bit, and then we can share that within one of the episodes.
That'd be great. That'd be really good fun to do, actually, because I think it's we do a lot of talking about dowsing, but actually, I do a lot of dowsing apart from in work with clients. I do a lot of dowsing out in the field, not just in supermarkets. So it's my passion is chasing dragon energy lines, and just finding earth energy fascinates me. It just absolutely fascinates me, and all the questions that you can ask. There's so many questions.
If you got the one where you did at Cadbury with the archaeologist, that must have been really interesting, because like you've got somebody that can then tell you, yes, that it's confirming what you found, because a lot of the time you don't always get confirmation, especially if it's not somewhere that you can just get a spade out and start having a dig. It's nice to get that confirmation of what the rods are saying.
Yeah, I was really excited actually that on that day, because he said there was a couple of churches there, and there's a typical type of church, the kind of like structure of it, and I couldn't really imagine what that would look like. So I, in my kind of mind, thought about the kind of structure of church that I would associate with a small settlement on a hill fort. And I was drawn to an area away from everyone else. Like, it was on a bit of like a sticky outy bit within the embankment. And I thought, oh yes. And there was someone else, another dowser, that also got the same spot. And we were both going, oh, okay. And when the archaeologist, he said, oh, and the other church was over there, and it was both where we dowsed, and we were like, yes, result. It's so exciting, because actually, I started to question, is this the right place to have had a church? Because it just seems like, why would they build a church here? Because it's like right on the side of the embankment. But to find out that, yes, when they'd done some excavations, they had found the foundations that were supposedly of a church there. So yeah, you can't make it up sometimes.
So if anybody wants to have a go at energy dowsing for energy lines, I suppose the first thing to do is to, well, you don't have to have flags, but if you have flags, at least you can plot it, is just find somewhere, isn't it? And I suppose you could map Dowse first, say where do I go to, and then go to the place, physically go to the place, or even just outside in your local area, and say, point me to an energy line.
You don't have to even
go far, do you?
Go far. You could go to your local park, you could go outside. It doesn't have to be a green space. It can be, I think sometimes I get a bit blinkered, and it's kind of the rural location that we have in Devon here, being drawn to Dartmoor and things, but actually there are energy lines going
car park for the range,
across the car park, along the pavement. So the only thing is, when you're doing that and you're walking along, you might have to encounter other people that may think, well, what on earth are you doing sort of in the middle of your town, your village, wherever you live? But actually most people that, when I've been dowsing in a more kind of area where there are more people, and it's more, I suppose, more of like a public park space, often people come up and ask what you're doing, and ask if they can have a go, because I think as a society we're curious about these ancient skills that times have changed, haven't they? You know, from maybe since our ancestors were dowsing, and you know, it was considered a bit of water witchery and anything. It didn't have a great name, and you know, it was kind of very much associated with witchcraft and occult sciences. But actually, things have really changed, and we're out being proud dowsers.
Yeah, and I think it is. It's an art, isn't it? Dowsing is an art, and when you use it a lot. But once you start, I mean, once I started, that was it. It was just the possibilities are endless about the information that you can find out, and the confirmation of information that you can find out. I'm using it as a confirmation tool. So next time I go to Tesco's, I'm going to take a rod, my pendulum, and then I'll go, right, where's the energy lines here? Probably running underneath all the tills where all the money comes. Some good energy flowing through it. So yeah, but if people, and if anybody does do that, pops out and just in the local environment, pop some comments in and let us know what you've found. Yeah, pop a comment in, and don't forget to like and subscribe to here if you're not already subscribed, and then you'll get a ping through when we get a new episode out. Yes, I think that's all for today. Is it, Jane? Anything else?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, if anyone's wanting to know a little bit more information about dowsing in the field and things like that, sign up to my newsletter at Tailor Made Therapy.
Yes, because you've got those cards that you're holding out. You share those you share information like that in your newsletters, don't you? So
I do. I do.
Excellent. Lovely. And we'll see you next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.